Now, I don't know about you, but I don't remember learning about Auguste Piggard in history class. This guy was attaching metal steel balls to hydrogen balloons and seeing how high he could go in the sky. Literally. Super odd. He seemed to be a big influence on science and our history, but again, we don't really hear about him much. Maybe it's because he's a flat earther. As the first man to reach the stratosphere, he said, "It seemed a flat disc with an upturned edge."
She starts singing about the Galactic Federation, which you guys know how I feel about them. Don't trust them. And all I saw with my third eye were these clear tubes that were being attached to people's crown chakra. And these two 15 feet tall Draco reptilians that were standing on the stage started eating up the energy.
The moon was a full moon for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Do you remember that? I do. Well, guess what the Book of Enoch says? The Book of Enoch says the moon will transgress her order and not even appear at her time. But not just that. It says many of the chief stars will also transgress their order and stop appearing to do their tasks they normally do. I mean, have you been seeing all the crazy light columns go up out of nowhere? What is going on?
God flooded the earth because there were no more humans left in it. Noah and his family and his sons were the only beings that were pure in generations, the Bible says. That means genetically pure. They were the only ones left that were pure genetically. They were the only humans left on the earth. Everybody had already interbred and mixed in with genetic, angelic, animal, hybrid, DNA, mixed things.
Most of the people had been corrupted.
White people make their edibles so strong. What are you running from?
Thank you for joining me again for another episode of Highly Motivated. I'm your host, Renee, and today we are going to be exploring and discussing some of the most interesting videos that I could find on the internet. Now, our first clip for today is of the most treacherous sea in the world. I'm telling you right now, there is no way I would be caught dead on this body of water. This is like all of my worst fears combined right here. Oh my gosh. I had nightmares as a kid of tidal waves. I mean, I get it. They're not really tidal waves, but they're big, okay? These men have think about it. These dudes sleep on these things too. I would not be able to sleep. No way. Our next story is about the most litigant man to ever exist.
Meet the man who sued
litigant.
Guinness World Record for giving him an award. He is known as the most litigant in the world since he has filed a total of 2,600 cases in different courts till now. Jonathan Lee Riches filed the first lawsuit against his mother for not growing him well. He won this case and got compensation of $20,000. After winning the case
Josh, don't get any ideas. I grew you just fine.
against his own mother, he filed cases on his friends, relatives, neighbors, his fiancée, police officers, judges in courts, and even on George Bush. He has won about $8 million in the compensation of 2,600 cases that he has filed till now. His name was recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records, and then he even filled a case against them saying that the owners of Guinness Book of World Records published my personal life publicly in a book without even asking me about it. And that's against the law. He even won that law case, and received $50,000. What are your views? Comment down. And follow Advanceable to be the advanced version of yourself.
I mean, he literally took, I'm going to see you like it's my job. Literally, it's become his job.
Now, I don't know about you, but I don't remember learning about Auguste Piggard in history class. This guy was attaching metal steel balls to hydrogen balloons and seeing how high he could go in the sky. Literally. Super odd. He seemed to be a big influence on science and our history, but again, we don't really hear about him much. Maybe it's because he's a flat earther. As the first man to reach the stratosphere, he said, "It seemed a flat disc with an upturned edge." Obviously, that quote right there should tell you that's why you're not hearing about him anymore.
Right.
This guy was a flat earther. Anybody that's a flat earther is not allowed to be in the public eye. But you know what they do in the public eye? Tell us the truth. This is an artist rendition of what Auguste Piggard was doing when he went into the stratosphere, towards the firmament. And what I'm about to show you is a Hennessy commercial that was produced and posted for all of the public to see. This is called Revelation of Method. This is them showing you the truth to your face and then nobody saying anything to NASA and having any problem with it. And just to get your mind in the right frame of reference here, before I play this clip of this commercial showing everybody the truth, this is what biblical cosmology looks like. There's a firmament here holding waters above, hence why the sky might be blue. And here's a bunch of our other ancestors' drawings of what they thought the shape of the earth was. You'll see it happens over and over, the shape of the dome. But after you see this clip, let me know in the comments if you think that they're showing us the truth and everybody's just not realizing it. And if you want to know more of my thoughts, check out my link tree in my bio. I've got a podcast where I talk for 2 hours about things that I can't talk about here, but enjoy this commercial.
It broke through to water. I'd say that's certainly a little bit of truth hidden in plain sight. Now, the next two videos are related, and they blew my mind. So that is the sound that mushroom makes with its frequency. The next one. Now they're using a technology that they call plant wave. This is something that's completely new to me. Isn't that just, it's like perfectly ambient. What do you think about that? It would be really cool if they took that technology and recorded the sounds of multiple different types of plants and then like layered them together and looped them to make songs that literally come from nature. I would buy it.
Look at this. Look at this. Is this white?
We're talking about.
Is this white?
We're talking about skin color.
I don't care. Is this white?
We're talking about skin color.
I don't care. Tell me your question.
Your skin
Is it
color
white?
is white.
No, it's not. This is
Not
white.
that white. That's an object. We're talking about
Is
skin color.
This is the same color.
You're white.
This is the option.
So what you think you are? You think what color are you?
I'm peach.
Bro.
Stupid.
Don't call me stupid.
Stupid. That little girl is wise beyond her years. Now, the story of the Great Flood is one of the best known stories of the Bible, but it's not very well known the actual reason behind God bringing this flood to destroy the earth.
The story of the Nephilim, the sons of God, was right before the flood. So it's like these events are not disconnected. This is leading toward the flood. You know, when you grow up in church, you don't really hear anything about the flood except for people were really bad. Okay.
Was that not the story that you were taught in church growing up?
Okay, what does that mean? Obviously, it's a perspective thing. So what does it mean really bad? Like, why would God destroy the whole earth?
There's a reason why God flooded the earth, okay? People don't understand that God didn't just flood the earth because the earth was full of evil, the end. Okay, when you read the book of Enoch and you read the book of Jubilees and Jasher and you read these other ancient texts, you get a more clear understanding of why God flooded the earth. God flooded the earth because there were no more humans left in it. Noah and his family and his sons were the only beings that were pure in generations, the Bible says. That means genetically pure. They were the only ones left that were pure genetically. They were the only humans left on the earth. Everybody had already interbred and mixed in with genetic, angelic, animal, hybrid, DNA.
And think about it. You have fallen flesh mixed with fallen angels. What kind of a being do you expect is going to be created out of that? Nothing positive.
Mixed things. Most of the people had been corrupted. They had this sons of God. They had this angel DNA. They were giants. And then according to the book of Enoch, they were like cannibalistic. They were horrible.
This was what we call the seed of Satan, okay? The seed of the serpent. The Bible talks about the seed of the serpent, and it talks about the seed of man. This is what it's referring to. These animal, human, hybrid, angelic, perverted creatures of God's perfect genetics.
A question that often gets asked, if God flooded the earth to destroy the Nephilim, how were there Nephilim afterwards? Well, I think this is an interesting question.
And there's actually a lot of differing ideas and quite a lot of debate on how this actually happened.
Some people believe there was like a second incursion, that the angels came back and did it again. Some people believe, yeah, there was some kind of a sciencey thing they did. They did some kind of a witchcraft, something to bring them back.
When Noah's sons chose their wives, they may not have been pure in genetics because they weren't the only ones that were pure in genetics, like the Bible had said. They may have had distant Nephilim, angelic DNA bred into them in some way, because the Bible says that the Nephilim were there in those days and after. So somehow the Nephilim, some remnant of them, survived the flood, okay? And that remnant came on the boat with, I believe, Noah's sons' wives. And they were reintroduced into society via genetic Punnett square random chance that a giant was born out of one of their children. And that giant became...
So I guess it could have been like a distant recessive gene in one of the wives. That's a solid possibility. What do you think?
Its own tribe of people and took over the whole promised land.
Because I believe there was a second incursion. The angels did it again. If you read in Genesis 6:4, it says, the Nephilim were in those days and also afterwards when the sons of God came into the daughters of men.
Okay, so they do mention that happening a second time. It would make sense if it was reiterated again in a different place right after they're mentioning that they were there again. I mean, it's a fair assumption.
And after the flood, when the sons of God came to the daughters of men.
For me, it's hard to believe in the second incursion theory because I believe that God flooded the earth literally to end the first generation of giants. And if there was a second incursion, then that would just bring back the giants again. So I think it had to have come from the genetic gene pool. And also it mentions in the book of Enoch that Michael's talking to Raphael about how the punishment that God put on these first initial angels that slept with the women, it was such a severe punishment. Anyone's heart that hears about it would be softened by it. And basically that no man nor angel shall ever partake in their portion of judgment or punishment again. And also,
in fact, there are some fallen angels that spend all of their time crying and begging for forgiveness from God. And Enoch, they actually asked Enoch to go to God for them to ask for forgiveness. And Enoch was severely chastised by God for even asking.
Also mentions whose reins are not troubled, meaning like it will change your direction, knowing this punishment was so severe for these angels that no angel would ever do it again. However, I do believe there is attempts to try to recreate the fall, and I think a lot of satanic practices are just that. They're trying to entice angels to sleep with women again, and a lot of these satanic rituals. So I don't believe any of the angels have ever...
The story of the Nephilim.
I don't know. I guess it could be either, right? It does make sense that it could have just been like a genetic thing that was left over, that was a recessive gene that only came out sometimes. We do know that the idea of giant bones is hidden from us. So a lot of questions.
If you don't believe your history is a lie, then you need to watch this.
This is the Tibetan library found hidden behind a wall in a monastery. It contains 84,000 scrolls which are said to record 10,000 years of human history. It was discovered in 2003 and apparently only 5% of them have been translated. Why should we trust our tiny history books when there is libraries like this and the one hidden from the public in the Vatican containing 50 miles of scrolls? I guarantee the stories in these scrolls and the scrolls in the Vatican vaults don't match the narrative we've been given. Even if you read the scriptures removed from the Bible like the Book of Enoch and the Gospel of Thomas, they open your eyes to more than the Bible does, and that's why they were removed.
I really hate it when people say that. Yes, there were things that were removed, and yes, there's some great information that you can learn by reading the apocryphal texts, but we have to remember that what's required for salvation was not taken out, and that is what we should focus on, and then the rest is just for knowledge.
Ask yourself, do you really trust the multiple authors, editors, and translators who created the book you read from? Do you even know who they were? Why they were instructed to write it, and who by? Two of the most powerful pieces used to enslave the masses are the Vatican and the Crown of England. Both were involved in the creation of the KJV. King James wrote the Book of Demonology before he had his own Bible knocked up by Sir Francis Bacon and the Jesuit order. Francis Bacon literally helped create the English language and was said to be one of many occultists behind the character Shakespeare. It's also speculated that he was the father of Freemasonry. You really have to start questioning the origins and etymology of everything you've been taught. Only then will you start seeing the bigger picture.
So I kept this in here because there's a lot of BS in this particular video. But the biggest thing that I hear is that the person who created this particular video is envisioning is less powerful than like a king and a group of dudes. Like, what kind of a god? Oh, I guess he just got tricked by good old King James. Like, are you serious? We're talking about the creator of everything. It's just, what are they? There's no stupid questions, I guess, but come on now.
Watch this video with me. These are 7 facts about Paul from the Bible. Let's watch it.
Facts about Paul from the Bible. Before embracing Christ, Paul, then known as Saul, was actually notorious for persecuting Christians. He didn't just disagree with them, he actively hunted them down. During the stoning of Stephen, the first Christian martyr, Paul was right there, giving his approval. It's hard to imagine someone so opposed to a faith becoming one of its greatest advocates. On his way to Damascus, with plans to arrest more Christians, Paul's life took a dramatic turn. Blinded by a brilliant light, he heard Jesus' voice. This wasn't just a change of mind, it was a radically transformation of heart and soul. He was never the same again. He often talked about a thorn in the flesh. We're not sure what it was, but it was a constant struggle, making him more relatable. It's like he's telling us, hey, I've been there too. From imprisonments, beatings, constant danger. His life as a missionary was anything but easy, yet he persisted, driven by his unwavering faith. Paul wasn't shy about standing up for what he believed in, even if it meant clashing with other leaders like Peter. He was passionate, sometimes confrontational, but always committed to his principles. Despite his strong faith, Paul often felt unworthy, haunted by his past actions. It's a reminder of the power of forgiveness and redemption.
Watch this video with
Amen.
me. These are 7 facts about
I mean, God couldn't have chosen a more perfect person. He chose somebody that was directly opposed to him and completely changed him like that. That's the power of God.
White people make their edibles so strong. What are you running from? Why am I tasting colors? I just wanted to go to Target. Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut. White people.
I'm not an astronaut. He's dead serious, too.
This building off 24th Street and University doesn't look like much, but according to new claims in these court documents, the Biological Resource Center was essentially running a chop shop for human body parts, mixing, matching, and selling them in ways we'd never heard of until tonight.
One FBI agent revealing what it was really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility, from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to coolers filled with severed penises when the FBI raided the building. He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner. The limbs, according to that agent, with no apparent identification. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400. A leg about $1,100. They'd even sell knees and feet alone for under $500.
This building.
That is some human centipede type shiz. Heck no.
We have an end times alert and something awesome to look out for if you're on the East Coast. First off, I want to say, of course, this is not normal, but we've seen many things not normal in the sky, like Acts 2:19. In this last day, there'll be signs in the sky. Vapor, smoke, and fire, lights, all these crazy things, which basically fit right into the book. Yes, you're reading this correctly. The northern lights will be viewable from the east coast of the United States. Make sure you're looking out for it, because it's going to be awesome. But it's just an expression of our God, of what's happening right now on the world.
Which it's very interesting that where I live in the Northeast, it has been cloudy for over I'd say a week and a half straight, every single day. Clouds so thick you can't see the sky above it at all.
And this is just a slight aspect of things happening and that have been happening. You know how the moon just went missing for like a week or two? But remember before that.
And they tried to blame it on David Copperfield practicing a trick. Like, that was literally the best excuse that they could come up with.
Before the moon went missing, the moon was a full moon for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Do you remember that? I do. Well, guess what the book of Enoch says? The book of Enoch says the moon will transgress her order and not even appear at her time. But not just that. It says many of the chief stars will also transgress their order and stop appearing to do their tasks they normally do. I mean, have you been seeing all the crazy light columns go up out of nowhere? What is going on? And no, it's not a lens flare, it's happening everywhere. Just columns of light shooting into the sky. And now I made a quick video run through of all the crazy things happening in the sky over the last year. That crazy flare coming out the moon. The sky's been going red everywhere. Do y'all remember this in New York? Look at that. The two suns. Been seeing them
the heck is
everywhere
that?
Since 2019, 2020. This was China, I believe. Vapor, smoke, blood.
Look!
A chief star maybe altering its time and its course. Maybe a fallen angel. The signs are showing themselves. We are at the end, and we're not even getting into the solar flare yet. We'll do that tomorrow. My goodness. Wake up. It's time.
It is getting to be very close. So we don't know when, but it feels like we're almost there, guys. Old inventions, 1920 to 1960. New York City has opened a new attraction that allows people to recreate an iconic photo. The part of this that I find extremely funny is that this was taken from ABC's TikTok, and there is some controversy as to how exactly this photo came to be and whether or not these guys were actually high up in the air. So for them to recreate a way to take the photo that is, again, not dangerous, kind of makes me wonder if they're trying to say something.
No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. This really is a giant petrified crocodile. And please don't try and tell me it's Pridolia, because this is not the same thing at all. It's become quite clear to me that once upon a time, humans, animals, and trees used to be a lot bigger compared to now. It's not like I'm just making this up. There is so much evidence right in front of us.
That's the word, Pareidolia. I think there was a lot more oxygen before the flood, and I do believe that animals were larger, and I believe that Adam and Eve themselves were larger than we are today.
Time to stop ignoring it. The Smithsonian is responsible for hiding or losing most of the bones of these giants. You don't want to miss this one.
The Smithsonian is responsible for hiding most of the discoveries of giant humans. They don't want people to know about these giants because it goes against the evolution theory. This skull used to be on display in Winnemucca, Nevada until a few years ago when they took it down. It's in the basement. You have to specially ask to see it. A giant human skull. Here's a normal human thumb bone. Underneath is a giant human thumb bone. We've got a replica of a thigh bone in our museum from a guy that would have been about 13 feet tall. If you meet a guy like that, call him sir. These jaw bones are on display at a hotel in Turkey, 6.5 inches across the TMJs. Any one of you could put your head inside the jaw and bounce it around. Waukesha, Wisconsin. They found a human skull 3 times the size of ordinary humans, found in an Indian burial mound. Roman Emperor Maximus was 8'6", 2,000 years ago, where we get our word maximum from. When the Mexicans, Cortez, went to Mexico and conquered part of it, the people who lived there said, oh, there used to be giants that lived on this continent. They brought a bone of one of these guys out. Just the thigh bone was as tall as Cortez. This is a giant block of rock. Who on earth is moving these things? Consider that's a camel in front of it for scale. Who's cutting and moving these things? This is a 39-pound axe head. Swing a 10-pound sledge for a few minutes and see why I'm wondering who's swinging a 39-pound axe head. And in Guam, they have a legend that the giants used to live on the island of Guam and built these big latte stones over there. In Indiana, 8 giants were found ranging from 8 to 9 feet long wearing heavy copper armor. The museum was not interested in them.
Why? Because it doesn't fit in the narrative. Duh.
Why would a museum not be interested in 9-foot skeletons to put on display? Could it be that there's a theory called evolution which says we started off small and we're getting bigger?
Right.
Which makes us feel important, of course, you know. We're evolving.
Right, of course.
He shall
We're the
be
smartest and the most technologically advanced ever.
gods. You're getting better. Could it be the truth is exactly...
I hope you caught my sarcasm.
The opposite? People were much bigger before the flood and now we're getting worse? And maybe they're trying to hide that?
Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and follow at Mike Priest ARR for more content like...
It seems to be that one of the laws of our universe is that things degrade over time. So the idea of evolution is in direct conflict with that fact. Now, those of us who know how to rightly divide the Bible understand that works are not required for salvation. They are proof of salvation. Now, this next video does a really good job of breaking down what exactly your works do for you on the Day of Judgment.
Watch this video with me. This guy's going to explain the process of Judgment Day based on the Bible. Let's watch it.
Before the judgment seat of Christ, receive the things done in the body, whether they be good or whether they be bad. He talks about another place in Corinthians. He said our works will be tried by fire of what sort they are. Gold, silver, precious stones. That's 3 things. Wood, hay, or stubble. He said, for the day will declare it. In other words, God will put all of our works into a pile here. Those works are things like stopping to help someone with a flat tire, going down to help someone who just had the tornado wipe their house out or the house burnt down, going over to help a neighbor cut the grass whose lawnmower doesn't work, giving your money to missionaries to help them, giving out gospel tracts, preaching the gospel in rescue missions, going to old folks' homes and stuff like that. That's works. So he said he's going to put the flame to our work to see what sort it is, and it'll be burnt, and after it's burnt, whatever is left is gold, silver, and precious stones. I'm afraid some of us will just have a little pile, look like not much.
And burnt is obviously symbolic for it'll be purified by fire.
Others may have more. And so we will receive our rewards, 5 crowns, and there may be more than that. There's just 5 that the Bible mentions. Receive 5 different crowns and different positions of ruling and reigning over the new earth, different status. Now those who are unsaved, they will not be in this. He said sinners shall not stand in the judgment or in the congregation of the righteous. That's not to determine whether or not you're saved. It's to determine reward. But there's another judgment, and that's the great white throne judgment. The Bible said before him will be gathered all nations, and the nations will come before him, and the Bible said he will judge them according to their works, what they've done, and they'll be cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. There'll be weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. So this judgment is where the beast and the false prophet are. It's where the Antichrist is. It's a judgment of sinners. I tell the guys in prison, it's like this. Right now, the unsaved souls are down in the bottomless pit, not the lake of fire. And they will be there until the end of the millennium, in which time they will be raised to stand before the great white throne judgment.
Right.
This bottomless pit is the jailhouse. They will have their day in court and then be cast into hell, and that's the state pen. And so sinners, it's already been determined when you die whether or not you're saved or lost before you ever go to any judgment. He said, he that believeth not is condemned already because he believeth not in the name of the only begotten Son of God.
Right.
So one is already condemned in this life right now. You don't need to go to judgment to determine that, but the judgment will determine the degree of hell or
Exactly.
Watch this video with
because your actions in your life will literally determine the hell you experience. Also, there's a really good Bible timeline that you can buy. It's called The Plan of the Ages or Plan of Ages by Phineas Dake. It is available online and it does not cost a lot. The small version, I want to say it's like $20, maybe even less, and it's really big. And it has all the verses and it breaks everything down. Now, if you've ever looked into any of the New Age spiritual practices, I know a lot of us have read some of these things while we were seeking before we came to Jesus. So you're probably familiar with what a mass meditation is. But are you familiar with the idea that it is actually just a mass energy harvesting?
Exposing spiritual teachers. Did you know that they can harness your energy through mass meditation? So this weekend, from November 10th to November 12th, I was at this event called Stairway to the Stars, hosted by Gaia. It's a disclosure fest in Las Vegas. And during one of the mass meditations in the morning, me and my friend who went were both psychic. We saw the same exact thing. These spiritual teachers were harnessing the audience's energy. Now, if you don't believe me, I was literally there. I took a picture. It says Stairway to the Stars right there. This is also me taking a picture with one of the speakers. I blocked both of them out because my friend is in that photo. I don't think she wants to be exposed. Oh, and also saw Bashar.
Oh,
but anyway,
man.
now that you know on that
so
line,
that guy was there.
and
We know what kind of event this was.
I have proof that I was there. Let me tell you what happened. Oh, the tea. It was the first day of the disclosure event, or the Stairway to the Stars event. And they had a mass meditation in the morning, and me and my friend, both of our intuitions were like, we have to go. We're going to see some interesting stuff. And we did. We both saw, with our third eye, because we're both psychic, on the stage, two 15 feet tall Draco reptilians standing there. And we looked at each other and we looked around, and I'm pretty sure a couple of other people noticed, but majority of the people in the audience, where there were like 50 to maybe 70 people, they didn't notice the Draco reptilians. And then this woman, she was singing on stage and she was like, everybody put your palms up. What do you do when you put your palms up like this? You are giving away your energy. Or at the very least, you're receiving somebody else's energy. You're like a beggar, right? Okay. And this woman, she said, put your palms up and let's meditate. Let's harness energy. And she starts singing about the Galactic Federation, which you guys know how I feel about them. Don't trust them.
Yes.
And all I saw with my third eye were these clear tubes that were being attached to people's crown chakra. And these two 15 feet tall Draco reptilians that were standing on the stage started eating up the energy. And so I got mad. I was like, oh, I knew this was going to happen, because I was always very suspicious of certain spiritual teachers. And so with my astral body, I guess you could say, I started concentrating on cutting the cords. I literally cut the cords one by one. And here's the freakiest part. On the stage, there was another spiritual teacher. He wasn't saying much. He was just closing his eyes and meditating. And all of a sudden, his eyes opened. And out of everybody in the crowd, he looks at me and my friend and just keeps staring at us because he knew what I was doing and because he also knew that we both saw what they were doing. So after I cut the cords and I made sure people were not giving away their energy to these freaking traitors, like a lot of these spiritual teachers, they work for the Dark Orion Fleet or the Fallen Angelics, whatever you want to call them, and they know it. Some don't know it. Oh, but these, they know it.
A lot know it.
And it's interesting how this event went on in the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, which is shaped like a pyramid. How much more Anunnaki Draco reptilian?
I mean, they just cannot help themselves with the symbolism.
Can you get? But anyway, after that event, me and my friend, we were walking down the hotel to get lunch. And then we saw the same spiritual teacher whose eyes just opened like that and looked at us. And he had the creepiest smile on his face, and he just waved at us like a robot. Like, it's almost like a passive aggressive.
Oh, he knew.
Like, I saw what you were doing there.
Right.
The fact that he opened his eyes and just looked at us and only looked at us.
Yeah, nope.
Not a coincidence. He knew that I knew, that we knew, that he knew. Now, I'm not saying all spiritual teachers are bad. I believe Bashar is a very, very good spiritual teacher. And I also believe the guy that I took a photo with that I blocked out is also a very good spiritual teacher. There are people who are doing this.
If they are not preaching Christ crucified and the mystery of grace, they are not a great spiritual teacher.
Genuinely, from their heart. But then there are others who are feeding your energy to entities you don't even know the name of. This is a warning for you all. If you're going to do a mass meditation, make sure you vet out the leaders, the spiritual leaders that are doing these mass meditations. Make sure your third eye is wide open. Make sure you have discernment because your energy is precious. Do not feed your energy to these Draco reptilians, fallen angelics, Anunnaki, crazy people.
These mass meditations are unnecessary. All you need in your life is prayer, not meditation. Meditation can open you up. You open up your third eye, something can attach to it and to your energetic body and can have control over your actions, your feelings. Now, those of us who have Jesus, we are protected, but there are a lot of people out there who are not protected. These are words of wisdom delivered in a way that only a mama would.
It's simple. He don't like you. He don't call you. He don't like you. He don't keep his word. He don't like you. He's inconsistent. He has someone else. He only calls you when he wants something. He's using you. He starts random arguments. He's cheating on you. He's not investing in you. You're not worth the investment. Never met his family. You're not the one. Been with your guy 5+ years. No ring. No marriage. He's still searching. You're a placeholder. Men are not complicated. They're very easy to know. Men don't talk with their words. They talk with their actions. It's simple.
I have always said that. I think as women, we like to overcomplicate men when they really actually mean exactly what they say. It's us that likes to read between lines. In the very beginning of 2023, there was an episode of The Simpsons that predicted a dark winter in the U.S.
Did you know The Simpsons predicted a dark winter of 2023? An episode from season 33 that aired in January 2023, apparently foreshadowing something called a dark winter coming to America. In the episode plot, the Simpson family finds themselves snowed in at home as a massive winter storm blankets Springfield. However, news reports indicate the freezing weather is not limited to just their town, but much of the United States is experiencing record cold temperatures, snowfall, and dangerous ice storms. Grocery stores' shelves are empty as people are ordered to shelter at home. More intriguing is that the episode aired only a few months before winter 2023-2024. Could it be predictive? Even more unsettling is that dark winter is a term previously used by government officials and pandemic experts to describe a hypothetical crisis scenario involving a combination disaster. Dark winter was a term from after 9/11, picturing a U.S. smallpox attack. Now, with COVID, high costs, food and energy shortages, social fights, and worse weather from climate change, some fear a crisis like the one shown in a Simpsons episode hitting America.
Only time will tell if the theories about a truly dark winter in 2023-2024 bear any credence. Let's wait and see. Did you know The Simpsons predicted
Predictive programming. At the very least, it shows something that they would like to have happen. This next one might gross you out a little bit. Tyson Foods has bought an edible insect company at the tune of $58 million. Am I rethinking Tyson chicken patties? Yes. Am I worried that they're going to try to put bugs in my chicken? Yes.
Get ready for Thanksgiving this year because you might be served a plate of bugs. What Tyson Food just did is gonna bug you. They just invested $58 million into Protix, a company which makes food out of bugs. My name is Patrick, and recently we've been covering a lot about how the meat industry is evolving. With things like lab-grown meat, and now a major meat distributor buying up a company which produces food from bugs.
And what are they going to name this like bug product? Are they going to give it some fancy name to make us think it's not actually like crickets and ants and stuff?
Things are changing, to say the least. I need to note here, though, that lab-grown meat will be labeled clearly that it is cell-cultivated. That way, us as consumers, we get to decide what we put in our body, and if we want to avoid stuff like that, we get to. Food which contains bugs does not need a clear label, it just needs to be put on the ingredient list in the back.
This is what I'm saying. And if they don't say it's a tick and they call it like schlim schlam or some ridiculous made up word, then no one's going to know.
That's because we already eat bugs very regularly in our food, especially in the United States. The things behind me are going to be different products that are made from Protein X, such as superior insect proteins to balance out the amino acids, or high-quality insect fats. Everyone's fully aware that things like peanut butter, chocolate, and coffee, they contain insect fragments. That's not news to us. We know that we're eating insects, little bits of them, every time we eat some of these products. Those are contaminants. What I don't think people understand is that we eat roughly 2 pounds of insects every year that are intentionally added to the food. Like black soldier fly eggs, which I really don't want to think about. This product I can 100% get behind. They're replacing soy with actual bugs for chickens, so our eggs are higher quality. And of course, some appetizing pet food. I have seen my cats devour cockroaches, so I'm fine. Go ahead, put it in the pet food. I personally, however, would enjoy some sort of like little check mark, like right here next to the organic label.
Oh, you think?
Get ready for Thanksgiving.
Absolutely not. And how the heck can they feed that to us without, like, at least giving us a tiny warning? If you've made it to this last video, do me a favor, put a heart in the comments so I know who you are. We are going to finish the video off with my favorite teacher, Brother Danny.
One talk, one message. Anything other than that is going to be revealed. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb. You're not preaching Jesus Christ according to the revelation of the mystery that was kept secret from the creation of the world. You are, in fact, a minister of Satan. Why? Because Satan's taking the time past doctrine. Satan mixes doctrine. That's what Satan's doing. He's diluting the light. What do you mean? If Jesus Christ, he can keep you walking the earth with Jesus Christ in his earthly ministry, he can keep you from looking for our blessed hope. See what I'm saying? What are you doing? Looking for that blessed hope and that glorious appearing of the great God and our Lord and Savior. What's he doing? Taking us to heaven. Don't you want to go to heaven? Well, you're going to have to come on the other side of the cross. Yes. That's where we are right now. The body of Christ is under grace. This is where we're meeting up at. Just like Forrest was taking all those people out to the thing for the chopper. He said every time I went back in looking for Bubba, somebody was hollering, "Help me, Forrest, help me." So I picked him up and I run him out of there. Remember, he got a reward. It was $1 million. It was $1 million wound. What are you going to do? You're going to pick up your brothers and run them out of there, right? We're going to help each other. We're getting to the chopper. So the body of Christ is rooted, grounded, established, engaged in spiritual warfare. We're resting under God's grace. So if you're not under God's grace, guys, get there. Get over here with us fast. Rest in God's grace.
Woo. Get there and get there fast. Thank you for coming to hang out with me again. To all my highly motivated family, I love you all very much. I will be back very soon. Until next time, stay prayed up and stay highly motivated.